Maui, good? Okay. Aloha, good morning. This is the February 5th, 2020 Land Use Commission meeting being held by Interactive Conference Technology, linking video conferencing centers on Maui, Oahu, and the island of Hawaii. A participating commissioner is in each designated site with the chair, chief clerk, and court reporter on Oahu, and the LUC executive officer on Maui. Our first order of business is the adoption of two sets of minutes. First, the January 8th and 9th, 2020 minutes. Are there any members of the public who wish to testify in the approval of the minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt the January 8th and 9th, 2020 minutes?
Move.
Moved
I'll second.
by Commissioner Wong, seconded by Commissioner Cabral.
Thank
Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Next is the adoption of the January 22nd, 2020 minutes. Is there any member of the public wishing to testify regarding the adoption of those minutes? Seeing none. Are there any comments or corrections on them? And if not, I'll accept a motion.
Move.
Moved by Commissioner Wong.
I'll
Is there a
second.
second? Seconded by Commissioner Cabral. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? The minutes are adopted unanimously. Our next agenda item is the tentative meeting schedule. Mr. Ordenker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For budgetary reasons, we don't have any hearings until April. April 8th, we will be on the Big Island for the U of N Bencourt matter, the Barry Trust matter, and the church matter. On April 9th, we will be on Maui for the Maui landfill matter. On April 22nd, we will be in Honolulu for Halekua and HMP. And on the 23rd of April, we will also be on Oahu for the HMP matter. In May, we will be in Kona for HILT matter, and that brings us to the end of the calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Ordenker. I'm going to ask if there's any questions going east to west, Hawaii Island. No questions? Maui?
No questions.
Oahu?
Now,
Okay.
what was the May meeting? What was the date on May?
Mr. Ordenker?
I missed it.
May 6th.
All right. Thank you.
Anything further? Thank you. The next meeting item is to sign Commissioner Lee Ohigashi to serve as the presiding officer for the Maui video conference-based portion of the proceedings. Commissioner Ohigashi, do you agree to preside over this portion of the proceedings?
It doesn't work, I think.
No, it's
Oh. Oh. Are you asking me? Yes.
Yes, okay. Please take over, Commissioner.
Okay, this is an action on docket number A03-739, A&B Properties, parentheses RD Olson Development, close parentheses, to consider petitioner's motion to designate the Land Use Commission as approving agency for environmental impact statement under HRS 343 and for authority to prepare environmental impact statement preparation notice. And the main meeting locale for this meeting will be at the Maui video conference site. Before I begin, I will disclose that in 2011, I represented a client attempting to intervene into, I think it's Maui Business Park development, and was denied intervention by the Maui Planning Commission, and was subsequently went to the appeal process and was remanded to the, I think it's to the circuit court here. And I have lost track of that. That was in 2011. Being that this is the site for this matter, I'm disclosing this. I do not have a financial interest in the outcome of this proceeding, nor have been actively involved in that case. I'd like to ask if there's any objection to me proceeding. I'll go first with the petitioner.
R.D. Olson has no objection.
Maui County
The County of Maui has no objection.
and, well, Office of Planning,
Office of Planning has no objection.
any, members of the commission, somebody object.
No objection.
No objection.
Okay, I guess I have to go continue on. Let me update the record. On September 20th, 2018, the County of Maui requested draft environmental assessment comments for Windward Hotel. Okay. On December 23rd, 2019, the Commission received a copy of the Office of Planning comments on the draft EIS that was sent to the county. On January 16, 2020, the Commission received petitioner's motion to designate the Land Use Commission as approving agency for environmental statement under HRS Chapter 343 and for authority to prepare environmental impact statement preparation notice and Exhibit 1. On January 27, 2020, the Commission mailed an agenda notice to the parties, the statewide email, Maui, and Hawaii mailing list. On January 30, 2020, the Commission mailed petitioner a letter acknowledging receipt of materials. On February 3rd, 2020, the Commission received OP's response to petitioner's motion to designate the Land Use Commission as the approving agency for the the EIS under HRS 343 and for the authority to prepare the EISBN. On February 4th, 2020, the Commission received Department of Planning's County of Maui's position statement on A&B Property Inc.'s motion to designate Land Use Commission as the approving agency for the environmental impact statement under HRS Chapter 343 and for authority to prepare the EISPN. Okay, we'll start with all parties identifying themselves for the record, please.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Commission. Curtis Tabata, appearing on behalf of R.D. Olson Development. Also present to my left is Anthony Rozek, Vice President, R.D. Olson Development.
Aloha, Chair and Commission members. Michelle McLean with the Maui County Planning Department, representing the County of Maui, and also here is Planner Tara Furukawa.
Okay, Honolulu.
Aaron Senegal representing the Office of Planning.
Anybody else want to make an appearance?
Did you want to state you're here? I don't,
Next,
not at
one
this
moment.
time. Okay,
Okay.
General, we'll call for anybody from the public.
Now, is there anybody in the audience who wishes to provide public testimony on this matter?
Okay. Yes, we have one party here on the Big Island wishing to provide public testimony.
Let me briefly describe our procedure for the day on this docket. First, I will give opportunity to the petitioner to comment on the Commissioner's policy governing reimbursement of hearing expenses. I will then call on those individuals desiring to provide public testimony to identify themselves. All such individuals will be called in turn to our witness box or probably remain in the chair you're sitting in. where they will be sworn in prior to their testimony. The public testimony today should be limited to the petitioner's motion and should not go into the merits of the petition for district boundary amendment. After completion of the public testimony portion of the proceedings, the petitioner will make its presentation on its motion. After completion of the petitioner's presentation, we will receive any comments from the County of Maui, the Planning Department, and the State Office of Planning on the Commissioner's petitioner's motion. The Commission will then conduct its deliberation. The presiding officer would note for the parties. The presiding officer would note for the parties and the public that from time to time I'll be calling for short breaks. Are there any questions on our procedure for today?
No questions.
No questions.
No question.
Hearing none. I will call, why don't we have our public witness testify? Oh, first, let me go through this. Mr. Tabata, have you reviewed HAR 15-15-45.1 with regard to reimbursement of hearing expenses?
Yes, and we will comply with the policy.
Okay. Now let's go on to public testimony. Could you please state your name before you?
And address.
Good morning. My name is Dwight Vicente. Hilo, Hawaiian Kingdom.
Okay. Mr. DeCenti, may I swear you in?
I don't think so. You have authority to swear me in because I'm with a different government from yourselves.
Well, do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give is the truth?
I only deal with law. Thank you.
Be that as may, we will accept your unsworn testimony today. Why don't you begin? You have 3 minutes.
Okay. I'm based on the historical events. The state of Hawaii is limited to by Section 4 Compact of the Admission Act is limited to the Hawaiian homes land only. These are the Crown and government lands that was illegally ceded to the U.S. by the Banana Republic of Hawaii in 1898 and incorporated under Article 4, Section 2, Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2 of the U.S. Constitution, no amendment. And it goes back to the Reciprocity Treaty of 1875 that brought about the Joint Resolution of 1898. Most people wonder why a joint resolution is because of the Reciprocity Treaty of 1875. It was not signed by King Kalakaua or the U.S. President, but it placed the Hawaiian Kingdom under Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2 of the U.S. Constitution, and there is no amendment for that to happen. So I believe the lands that you're dealing with this morning is not the ceded lands of 1898, and it does not fall under the jurisdiction of the state of Hawaii or the Land Use Commission or even the Planning Commission, Maui County. So it's questionable whether you have jurisdiction to expand beyond the Section 4 Compact of the Admission Act, the 1898 Joint Resolution, which limited to 1,750,000 acres of Crown and government lands. So my understanding is the Land Use Commission has no authority to usurp power over these other lands. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for the witness, Mr. Petitioner?
No questions.
How about Maui County?
No questions.
OP,
Hope you have no questions.
does the commissioner have any questions for the witness? Okay, hearing none. Are there any more public witnesses in any of the sites? Seeing none, Mr. Tabata. Seeing none, Mr. Tabata, will you please make your presentation?
Thank you, Commissioner Higashi. On January 16, 2020, R.D. Olson filed its motion to amend the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and decision in order, which was filed on March 25, 2005, for the Maui Business Park Phase 2 project. Our motion to amend is to allow a development of a 200-room hotel on approximately 5.17 acres of land. One of the requirements for our project is to amend the Wailuku Kahului Community Plan, and that community plan amendment is a trigger under Chapter 343. Therefore, we filed our motion to designate the LUC as the approving agency and accepting authority also on January 16, 2020, under HRS 343-5E, to request an order from the Commission establishing, one, that the LUC be the accepting authority and approving agency under Chapter 343, two, through the LUC's judgment and experience that an EIS is likely to be required, and three, to authorize petitioner to prepare an environmental impact statement preparation notice. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions for Mr. Tabata? Maui County?
Thank you. The County of Maui submitted its position statement in support of the petitioner's motion. Beyond what's in our statement, we don't have anything to add. Thank you.
And Office of Planning?
OP has no questions.
Any questions from the commissioners? Yeah, I'm going to leap of faith and say that Arnold Wong is not going to ask a question, so I'm going to move on.
No, chair.
I refuse to be called chair, by the way. It's presiding officer. Okay. Now, Ms. Apuna, who's next? Oh, Maui County, do you have a presentation to add?
No, thank you.
Okay. Office of State Planning, do you have a?
Office of Planning has no objections to the motion.
Okay. Are there any questions for either the Office of State Planning or Maui County on their submittals by the commissioners? Seeing none, what is your pleasures, Commissioner? I shouldn't have asked it that way. What is your...
Chairman Ohigashi Pro Tem. Sorry, I had to put that in.
Arnold, there's a light hitting your head that I can't. So,
anyway, I would like to make a motion. I would like to move that the Land Use Commission be the accepting authority for A03-739. And everything else that, yeah. One second.
There's no second.
This is Gary Okuda. I second the motion.
Okay. So, been moved by Commissioner Wong and seconded by Commissioner Okuda to accept the, I gotta read this. To designate the Land Use Commission as the approving agency for the environmental impact statement under Chapter 343 and for authority to prepare the environmental impact statement preparation notice and the main meeting and the preparation notice.
Yeah.
Are there any
Mr. Presiding
comments?
Officer. Yeah, Mr. Presiding Officer, this is Gary Okuda. I seconded the motion based on the Land Use Commission being the accepting authority. Now, there might not be any real legal difference in the end by the use of the terms approving or accepting, but in looking at the statute, it might be the word or the term accepting is more accurate. I don't believe it changes the substance of the motion, and the intent of my seconding the motion was to basically go forward with the entire relief that the petitioner was raising in the presentation and motion they were making. But again, it's for the Land Use Commission to be the accepting authority.
Do I have to make a ruling?
Mr. Presiding Officer, I think we're just clarifying that when you restated the motion for the record, you used the word approving, but the motion made here on Oahu actually used the word accepting.
So noted. The minutes should reflect that. We can move on. Okay. Are there any more comments?
Mr. Chair, if I may inquire of the move on. The motion also requested, the petitioner's motion also requested that the commission authorize them to move directly on to an environmental impact statement preparation notice, and that because of the time frame, staff is concerned about submitting a letter or order to the OEQC, and we're wondering whether the commission wants to authorize the executive officer to notify and submit the record of the commission's decision, and for the chair to sign any order on this matter on behalf of the commission.
Yes, I would like that to be added to the motion.
And this is Gary Okuda. I would second that addition. I think that's consistent with the intent here.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments? So with no other comments, with that, Mr. Ordenecker, with the changes indicated to the motion, by changing it from approving to accepting, and for the language regarding authority to prepare environmental impact statement, preparation notice, and the other documents, could you please restate the motion and take the roll, please?
The motion is for the commissioner to be the accepting authority for petitioners' HRS 343 compliance, and as the commission believes that the petitioner's submittals show that there may be a significant effect or impact to the environment, directs the petitioner to prepare an environmental impact statement preparation notice. And given the limited time frame, the petition's motion to designate the executive officer is to notify and submit, authorized to notify and submit a record of the commission's decision to the OEQC by February 15th, 2020. And further, that the chair is authorized to sign any order on this matter on behalf of the commission. Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
Commissioner Okuda.
Yes.
Commissioner Chang.
Yes.
Commissioner Cabral.
Yes.
Commissioner Axon.
Aye.
Commissioner Giovanni.
Aye.
Chair Scheuer.
Aye.
Presiding Officer Ohigashi.
Oh, aye.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, is there any other additional Maui business to be held? Hearing none, I declare the Maui-based meeting adjourned and return control back to Chair Schroyer, to whatever extent he had it in the beginning.
That is an existential question, Mr. Presiding Officer. The next meeting will require that the commission provide meals for a working lunch as an integral part of the meeting due to the remote locale of the meeting facility. Mr. Orodenker, would the LU staff please make the necessary arrangements for the working lunch?
Orodenker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for numerous things. But yes, we will make the arrangements.
Is there any other LUC business that needs to be attended to? There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.